Is D&D about to bring back another beloved campaign setting for a second chance to do it right?
You need to get in there and fix it.
Understood, ma'am. I'm on it.
Welcome to the Character Sheet, your home for fantasy and TTRPG news. Before we break down which D&D setting could get a new lease on life, why not take a second to hit those like and subscribe buttons to help the video and to help us keep this channel growing. And then, let's dive into the news. D&D dropped a surprise Unearthed Arcana yesterday featuring 8 horror-themed subclasses. Most of them were revamps of existing 5e subclasses, although 2 brand new subclasses were also included. We saw the return of revamped versions of the College of Spirits Bard, the Grave Domain Cleric for all those Caduceus fans out there, the beloved Hexblade is finally back for Warlocks, along with the Undead Patron Warlock subclass, and it's all rounded out by the Shadow Sorcerer, shout out to the Laudna fans in the room, and the Rogue Phantom. While these classes still strongly resemble their 2014 counterparts, they've had some significant tweaks. For example, the new version of the Hexblade is far more about casting your hex and getting new benefits to do so versus just being a cool wizard guy with a sword, as you can now cast hexes without using spell slots, and you get a bunch of new debuffs for your hex targets and buffs for attacking and killing hex targets, along with a new expanded spell list of always prepared Hexblade spells. The 2 new subclasses, the Reanimator Artificer and the Hollow Warden Ranger, are completely new to D&D at least, as they do resemble some versions found in third-party content like Ghostfire Gaming's Grim Hollow books, and add some interesting new horror elements to the game. The Reanimator Artificer gets his very own undead, Frankenstein's monster-esque companion to fight for him, who explodes on death in a burst of necrotic energy and can absorb and heal from lightning damage. Most of their abilities either buff that companion further, or give them better use of spells that raise the dead, like Raise Dead of course, or Revivify. The Hollow Warden Ranger, on the other hand, literally transformed into a strange eldritch horror creature when they cast their Hunter's Mark, growing terrifying antlers or horrible fangs, and they emit a frightening aura that can actually cause creatures to lose actions. And their transformation gets more powerful as they level, allowing them to gain more armor and deal more damage as their transformation becomes more and more extreme. Now, while those all sound really interesting, the timing of this release makes it seem like these will all be in the currently unnamed D&D rulebook scheduled to release this October, right around Halloween. So what setting would you put 8 new horror-themed subclasses in on the same month as Halloween? We think the answer is pretty clear. D&D could finally be doing Ravenloft justice with a second sourcebook release. In fact, 2 of these subclasses, the College of Spirits Bards and the Undead Pact Warlock, originally debuted in the first Ravenloft book, Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. That book, while generally held in high regard, especially compared to the other setting books that came after, like Spelljammer and Dragonlance, still left a lot to be desired. Major villains were left out of the bestiary stat blocks, and there was a lot of talk on the mechanics of simply playing a generic horror campaign versus the mechanics of Ravenloft specifically. And basically there was just a lot of meat left on the bone as they folded a player's guide, a world guide, and a bestiary all into one streamlined 250-page book, which will always mean some big areas get cut out. But now, with 8 new horror subclasses coming versus the 2 we saw in Van Richten's Guide, could we actually be getting a player's guide to Ravenloft-style sourcebook? Something focused purely on creating characters and adventuring in the strange and terrifying domains of dread within Ravenloft. More backgrounds, more character species options, new equipment to choose from. A 2024 version of Ravenloft focused on the player perspective could offer a ton of value to fans of the setting, and potentially cover a lot of that ground glossed over in the streamlined 2014 version of Ravenloft seen in Van Richten's Guide. And what better time to release the return of Ravenloft than October, right around Halloween, which would give D&D plenty of time to implement any changes from the feedback of this Unearthed Arcana, which will end sometime in May. And if that's the case, we can't wait to explore a more fleshed out Ravenloft in the very near future. So what do you think? Is D&D returning to Ravenloft an amazing move, or should they have tried to revitalize another setting like Darksun or Dragonlance first? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.